Once upon a time, a kind queen died, leaving behind 11 princes and 1 princess. The castle welcomed a new queen. But the new queen was a wicked and frightening witch. The witch took her little sister and the princess to the countryside, and left them in the care of a peasant couple. She then cursed the princes, turning them into swans and chasing them out of the castle window. When the princess turned 15, she was due to return to the castle. When she returned after a long time, she found that her brothers were not there. So she asked the people around her, but no one could tell her where they were. The princess set out into the wide world in search of her brothers. She walked for days and days. And one day she met an old woman spinning thread in the forest. "Grandmother, have you seen the 11 princes?" When she asked, the old woman replied, "No, but yesterday I saw 11 swans with golden crowns on their heads, swimming in the river nearby. It might be your brothers." The princess went to the river and looked around. But there was no sign of her brothers, only swan feathers lying there. When the sun was setting, the princess saw 11 swans, with golden crowns on their heads, flying towards the hill. She climbed up the hill and hid quietly in the shade of the bushes. The swans landed close by and flapped their large white wings. As soon as the sun sank into the sea, the swans' feathers fell off, and they turned into 11 beautiful princes. The princess, seeing this, couldn't help but let out a loud cry, and the princes noticed their sister. They all embraced each other in tears at the long-awaited reunion. But when dawn broke, the princes had to turn into swans again and fly away. "Brothers, what can we do to break the spell?" Then one of the brothers asked. "An old woman we met in the forest, who was spinning thread, told us that in order for us to break the spell, we had to pick burrs, stomp them with our feet to get thread, weave them into cloth, and sew 11 shirts. Then the spell would be broken. But we must not say a word while we're making them." "I understand. I'll definitely break your spell." After that, the princess went out to the field every day and picked burrs. The thorns of the burrs made her white fingers bleed, and her feet were hurt and stinging. But she did as she was told and did not cry. One day, a young king saw the princess covered in wounds and was worried about her. So he put her on his horse and took her to his castle. The king then gave her a beautiful wedding, but she never spoke a word. Furthermore, the princess found that there were no nettles growing in the castle, but that they could be found in the cemetery of a nearby temple. So every night the princess would sneak out of the castle, pick nettles that grew in the cemetery, and spin cloth out of the thread. Eventually, the king noticed that the princess was going out every night. And one night he decided to follow her. He saw her going into the cemetery. When the princess returned to the castle secretly, the king said to her, "I thought you were strange, because you never spoke, but now I understand. You must be a witch." He then decided to put the princess in prison. "I'm not a witch. Once I put sleeves on this 11th shirt, I'll be able to talk." The princess cried in her heart, but she continued to make shirts diligently, even in the carriage that was taking her to the prison. As the carriage approached the prison, suddenly, there was the sound of flapping wings from the sky, and 11 swans caught up with them. The princess threw the shirt she was holding at the swans, who quickly transformed into 11 princes. "King, now I will tell you everything. It was the witch who put the spell on my brother. I am innocent. The princess told the king everything that had happened up to that point. Then the princess lived happily ever after with her brothers.